Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jennifer White, and I am representing the state of Colorado. We are here today to decide if the defendant, Todd Quacker, is guilty for the crime of statutory rape. Jessica Smith is a 15-year-old and Todd Quacker is a 22-year-old. At the conclusion of this trial, it is my hope that in the interest of justice, you will find that the defendant is guilty of statutory rape. Thank you very much. The defense attorney would now give his opening statement. The prosecution calls Jessica Smith up to stand as a witness. Miss Smith, is it true that you engaged in sexual intercourse with the defendant? Yes. The prosecutor would ask more questions after this. Miss Smith, did you give consent to the defendant? Yes. The defense attorney would ask more questions after this. The defense calls Todd Quackers to stand to be a witness. Mr. Quackers, how long have you and Miss Smith been in a relationship? We've been dating for about 3 months now. The defense attorney would ask more questions after this. Mr. Quackers, is it true that you are 4 or more years older than Miss Smith? Yes, it is. I am 4 years and 1 month older than Miss Smith. The prosecutor would ask more questions after this. Evidence would also be presented. Ladies and gentlemen, through this case, Miss Smith has told us that she did consent to intercourse with the defendant, and doctors have proven that this is true. There is now no doubt that the defendant is guilty of statutory rape. I hope that you can come to the conclusion that Mr. Quackers should be put away for the crime he has committed. The defense attorney would now give their closing argument to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, now that you have heard all of the evidence and the arguments of counsel, it becomes my duty to give you the instructions of the court concerning the law which governs this case. It is your duty as jurors to follow the law as I shall state it to you, and to apply that law to the facts as you find them from the evidence presented in court. These are just the first few lines of the general jury instructions. When I complete these instructions, the jury will go to the jury room to begin deciding the case. We call that process deliberations. These are just the first few lines of the jury deliberation instructions. The jury then begins deliberation in a separate room. This is the final deliberations made by the jury in this case. So now that we all agree that Mr. Quackers is guilty of statutory rape, we're ready to go back to the courtroom. The jury would then go back to court and reveal their deliberations to the judge, and they would begin sentencing.